Hello, everybody. I'm Melissa. Welcome back to Book Bar, and welcome to my November mid-month wrap-up. So far in the month of November, I have read 17 books, and I am currently in the middle of reading 2 books. So the books that I am still reading are A Discovery of Witches by Deborah Harkness. I am reading this. This is one of my 22 books to read in 2022. My cousin's wife absolutely adores this series and has been pushing me to read it for 2 years. She's like, you need to read it, you need to read it, you need to read it. So I'm finally getting it done. And then the other book that I'm currently reading is City of Gods and Monsters by Kayla Edwards. Oh, I'm actually currently reading 3 books by Kayla Edwards. It's a fantasy romance. And then the third book that I'm currently reading is The Hating Game by Sally Thorne. This is a 2021 rewind, so I'm rereading favorites from 2021. So I am going to discuss the books that I've already completed. I think I said it was 17. Math is not mathing in my head right now. I'm going to discuss the books that I read from the 1st of November to the 15th of November, which is today. I will not finish a book tonight. I know I won't, because all of the books that I'm reading still have a lot of pages left to go. So I will not be completing anything today, which is fine. As far as Knock It Out November, which is hosted by Cassidy at Covers with Cassidy, I have completed one of my goals, which was to have a 24-hour readathon. I did that. The vlog actually for that just went up the previous video. I will post it up here, tag it up here. But that was a lot of fun. I am almost done with my 2021 rewind. I am just have The Hating Game to finish. And I obviously have only started one of my 22 books to read in 2022. My personal goal, not working out so hot, but that's okay. And I've read one of the 2 books I need to read to get caught up in the Stay a Spell series. And I'm doing all right in my book clubs. I've read the book club books that I wanted to read. So I'm doing all right on that. So let's just go ahead and get into the books that I have read. If this is your first time watching, I review my books in the order of which I completed them, not necessarily the order I have started and read them. Some books I start and it takes me a couple weeks to read. Others I start and I read them all in one day. So the first book that I completed in this month was Maggie Moves On by Lucy Score. I'm going to give myself space for the cover up here. I give this 3.5 stars. It's a small town, friends, kind of co-workers-ish to lovers. Maggie and Silas. Maggie is a house flipper, so she flips houses, and she goes to the small town and buys this historic home, and she contracts Silas to help her, and of course things are going to happen and they're going to fall in love along the way. But it was fine. It was something special, and it was very long. I read Things We Never Got Over by Lucy Score, and I really enjoyed it. My other problem with it was that it was really long. But this one, I just felt like was really slow moving, and it was just very, I didn't love it. So, 3.5 stars for Maggie Moves On. Then I read Ghosted by J.M. Darhower. I didn't realize that this book is actually pretty old. I think it was it was written in 2017, so it's pretty old. I absolutely adored this book. I gave it 5 stars. It will probably be on my favorites of the year. Definitely will be a favorite of the month, if not a favorite of the year. This is Jonathan and Kennedy. It is a second chance of romance with a single parent, but really it's the 2 parents getting back together and falling in love, and it's just gut-wrenchingly beautiful. And I just absolutely loved everything about it. It broke my heart. It put it back together. I cried. I laughed. I felt all of the feelings. I loved the juxtaposition of, basically the story is told from 2 different timelines. So it's told in the present day, and then it's told through a notebook of the past, and when they met, and when they first fell in love when they were young, and when they first fell in love and they're young, their relationship is obviously fantastic and wonderful, and when they're in the present day, their relationship is not great. It's very rocky and not on solid ground, and she doesn't trust him. He doesn't know how to be. He's trying to work through sobriety and all these things, and then as the story progresses and their relationship in the current day starts to get better, you see the how their relationship dissolved in the past timeline and like what happened to lead them to where they were at in the beginning of the story. And it was fantastic. Some of the stuff that he said to her, like, it was wonderful. I absolutely loved it. 5 stars. I could talk about it forever and ever and ever. Then I read Mrs. Wickham by Sarah Page. It was an Audible exclusive novella. It's basically just follows Lydia after, it kind of talks about what happened when she ran off with Mr. Wickham in Pride and Prejudice. And it's kind of her side of the story, and it was fun. It was cute. It wasn't anything special. I give it 4 stars. But yeah, I had a good time with it. I enjoyed it wasn't anything special or anything. It's short. It was a quick, I just needed something fast. And I enjoyed it. So yeah, I gave that one 4 stars. Then I read Dear Ava by Elsa Madden Mills, and this is probably my favorite Elsa Madden Mills I've read so far. I gave this one 5 stars. This was Ava and Knox, and he's like a star football player at their high school, and she's the poor girl who nobody likes her because something had happened to her the year before, something very traumatic. So content warnings for sexual assault and things like that. So things of that nature. So something really bad happened to her. So she left school for a year, and then she comes back to this prep school that she's at, where she is actually given a scholarship, but she's very smart. And so she goes back to this prep school, and there she starts to kind of fall in love. She gets a letter in her locker from an unknown person who she then starts to form a bond with through text messages and things, until she realizes that it's actually the grumpy football player, Knox, who was her ex's best friend, and all these things. And he's the one that helped her, saved her from what happened in the past. And it was such a good, I don't know how to talk about it without giving things away, but it was good. I enjoyed it. I gave it 5 stars, or I think I gave 4.5 stars, rounded up to 5. Yes. Actually, no, it was 5. It was 5 stars. It's a 5-star book. I'm changing my mind on it all the time. Then I finally finished Manacled by Sun Lin Yu. This is a Hermione fanfic. It's like Harry Potter meets The Handmaid's Tale. And basically Hermione, it's after the war. It's told in an alternate universe where all of the people that we know and love from the original Dumbledore's army has died. They've all died. And the Dark Lord won, and he wants to start this breeding program, basically. And Hermione is sold to Draco Malfoy to be his sex slave, basically, and forced to have children with him. But things might not be exactly how you think they are. So yeah, I enjoyed it. I gave it 5 stars. It was extremely long. It's over 300,000 word thick, so it ends up being over 1,000 pages. It is crazy. It is a wild ride. It took me a really long time to get into it, but once I got in, I was hooked, and I just wanted to keep reading. So yeah, I gave it 5 stars. Then I read Sea of Ruin by Pam Godwin. Oh my gosh, another 5-star. I went through a time. This month I've had some bangers for sure. Sea of Ruin also might be with Ghosted. I don't know which one I like more. But Sea of Ruin by Pam Godwin. This follows Bennett, who's a pirate, a female pirate. She is fantastic. She is married to a man named, Priest. And he's also a pirate. But he does some kind of shady stuff. And so they don't have the best marriage. And one day her ship is captured, kind of. And she jumps off so that her ship can get away. And the pirate hunter can catch her instead of catching her ship. So she has a chance to potentially get back to her ship. Well, she's caught by this man named Ashley. And things may happen. Things may have happened between Ashley and Priest. And yeah, it's just a fantastic story. It is dark. There is all sorts of content warnings, so please know that going in. I am terrible at saying them and and remembering to them, but do know, like, Pam Godwin does have, like, if you go to her website, it has a list of all of the content warnings, so go look at those. And yeah, but I really enjoyed it. It's probably my favorite historical I've read this year, because yes, it is a historical romance. I am counting it as a historical, not a dark romance, but it is a dark historical romance. But it is so good. It was pirates and fantasticness, and I loved it. 5 stars. Then I picked up the little novella that goes along with it, King of Libertines. This is basically just shows when Priest and Bennett met, and it's kind of just a little quick novella off that. This is happening before the events of where you're at in the current timeline of Sea of Ruin. So I didn't rate that one because I don't rate novellas that are under 100 pages, and this one was under 100 pages. So no rating, but it was still just a fun, sexy, good time. Then I finished Lovelight Farms by B.K. Borison. Rye from Rye's Reading Corner and Jess from Peace Love Books had both talked about how much they really enjoyed reading it. So I decided, and I had seen it around, and I'd been wanting to read it because it's kind of like a Christmassy holiday. Like, it talks about, like, Thanksgiving. She owns a Christmas tree farm. I just felt like reading it. Like, it sounded like a good, cozy, fun read, and it was short. Like, I read it in, 2 nights. I finished it. I started on a Monday night, and I was done with it by Tuesday night. And I slept and went to work and all those things in between. So I enjoyed it. It follows Luke and Stella. They're best friends, and they both may be mutually pining after each other. Fake dating. She owns a Christmas tree farm. There are lots of fun family drama things that happen with her family. His family's amazing. It's a small town romance. And yeah, I gave it 4.5 stars. I really enjoyed it. I had a great time. Then I read The Hookup by Kristen Callahan. This follows Drew and Anna. And I also give this 4.5 stars. Anna is a plus-sized, curvy girl who does not care about the hot football star that is Drew. And Drew Baylor is all sorts of enamored by Anna. And thinks he will do anything he can to get her on his side. There's a lot of, this book is surprisingly emotional. I had a great time. I gave it 4.5 stars. It's obviously a sports romance. Dislike-ish to love. Hero obsessed with the heroine. College romance. Then I read The Princess and the Player by Elsa Madden Mills. I really enjoyed this. This is the second book in her little, they're not connected. You could for sure read Princess and the Player without reading Beauty and the Baller, which I have up here. You can't see it. But you do hear the hero and the heroine from Beauty and the Baller's name in this book, but that's not important. But yeah, this is Tuck and... Did I not write it down? I must not have. Tuck and Francesca, and... Tuck is a football player in New York. He is the top wide receiver for his team, but he is getting up there in age and starting to slow down a little bit. And so one of his new quarterback takes him to it's a sex club, but it's a high-end sex club. And there he meets Francesca, who is dressed in her wedding dress because she just found out that her fiance was cheating on her. And they have one steamy night together where all sorts of things happen. But turns out that she ends up pregnant. So it is a surprise and a secret baby because she does hide it from him for a while. Which is kind of annoying. Especially when she's hiding it from him. So she tries to hide it from him because she's afraid that he's going to be upset. Well, of course, they're starting to fall in love. But she lies to him. So things are going to happen. It was a great time. I gave it 4.5 stars. Why I'm talking about it, I didn't love it. I really did enjoy it. One night stand leads to more forced proximity because they live in the same building. And they didn't know that. And yeah. Then I read Finding Me by Viola Davis. This is just her memoir. It was fantastic. I really enjoyed Viola Davis. I listened to the audiobook of Viola Davis as the narrator. It was a great time. It's about her life and growing up in a small town, and about her being Black and living where she lived, and the prejudices against her, and the prejudices that, other people of her own community had against themselves. And then her becoming an actress, and her time on How to Get Away with Murder, and how people didn't think that she was going to have the right look and everything, and she didn't care and went for it. And I love Viola Davis. She's a great actress. The Help is one of my favorites. She talks about The Help and the problematic aspects of it, along with, how she loved being a part of that movie. And so I really enjoyed it. I give 5 stars. Of course, I give all my memoirs 5 stars, because who am I to tell someone that their lived experience is not 5-star worthy? Then I finished my reread for the SJM along of A Court of Frost and Starlight by Sarah J. Maas. This is just a fun novella. I mean, it's still 200 and something pages. In the ACOTAR series, I think of it as an extended epilogue of Rhys and Feyre being happy, plus then leading into the next book, and setting up the couple for A Court of Silver Flames. I'm not going to say anything about it, because it's literally would be all the spoilers in the world, because, yeah. But it's a great time. I give 4 stars, and only because it just is an epilogue. Then I finished my reread. Oh, I skipped one. I read this before Love Light Farms. I finished my reread of The Love Hypothesis by Ali Hazelwood. Looking back at this now, I probably would not give it 5 stars. I mean, I'm not going to change my rating, because I don't do that. But if I'm looking at my ratings of books that I've read this year, reread this year, this would probably be on the lower end of books that I reread. That will be a video coming out sometime, probably in January, maybe in December, we'll see. But it is lower in terms of books that I've reread, just because it's not, I mean, there are just things that happen that I'm really? So that wouldn't really happen. So I enjoyed it. I still love it. I still give it, it's still 5 stars in my heart, but rereading it I don't think it's a book that I'll reread again. And I'm, because I don't want it to keep lessening my enjoyment. Also, she calls Stanford a place, a city. Stanford is not a city. It's in a city called Palo Alto in California. It's not in Stanford. The setting is the school of Stanford, but it doesn't take place at Stanford. So, yeah. Hold on, the angle might change, because my dad's about to call me. And I need to answer. Okay, sorry. There's an angle change. Like I said, my dad was calling me, and I had to answer it. But yeah, so I give The Love Hypothesis, it's still 5 stars. It was just a reread. Probably, had I read it this year, I wouldn't have given it 5 stars, but yes. Then I reread Broken Records by Brie Bennett, and this still is a 5 star. I absolutely adore this story. Lucy and Jack are just adorable. They are so fun and cute and sweet and swoony. This is a marriage of convenience, forced proximity. There is the best caretaking scene in this. Jack gets really sick, and Lucy helps take care of him, and it's just so adorable. But yeah, I had a great time. I love this. I love this book so much, and I need more people to read it, because it's not very popular, and I love it. And look at this cover. Look at this cover. And in a world where people are going away from man covers, Brie Bennett's original cover for this was yellow with a record on it, but she recovered it and got a man on it. So, support the men on the cover. Plus, Mad Jack's just amazing. I love him. Age gap, slow burn. Small town-ish, because, yes, they currently live in New York, but there is a time when they go to Indiana, a small town of Indiana called Sparrow Hill. Lucy's part of a huge family. It's great. It's a great time. Absolutely fantastic. 5 stars. Then I read The Kraken Sacrifice, which is the officially unofficial book club pick of the month, which is hosted by Cassidy, Mel from Melanor Reads, and Rye from Rye's Reading Corner. And we all read The Kraken Sacrifice on one night of sprints. It was fine. 3 stars. It's monster smut, basically, with a little bit of a plot. And I don't know. I don't really know what to say about it, other than this Catalina sells herself to a demon, to then go into this auction and is purchased by the Kraken Thane. Thane is he doesn't care about he knows his brother is going to end up leading his people and doesn't really care, but he needs to go to this to help with the magic of the land or something. It makes sense if you read it, kind of. But yeah, I gave it 3 stars. It was fine. There were some fun times with tentacles. They happen real fast. But yeah. Then I read Walking in a Witchy Wonderland. This is just fun little catch up on the people in Today's Spell series. So you see all of the couples from the first 3 books, plus a little bit of a couple from the 4th book. And also you get a little novella with JJ and Charlie, who are 2 side characters who are in love with each other, but they don't want to admit it, type of thing in the first 3 stories. So yeah, it's a great time. I give 5 stars just because I enjoyed seeing the Christmassy side and the little bits of, Mateo and Evie all happy and just in love, and it was great. It was a great time. And then the last book that I finished this month, or this half of the month, was Book Lovers by Emily Henry. I gave this 4 stars, 4.5 stars. It's probably my second favorite Emily Henry. I think if I were to rank the 3 that I've read, it would go Beach Read, Book Lovers, then People We Meet on Vacation. Book Lovers follows Nora and Charlie, and Nora is a literary agent. And she meets with Charlie, and he tells her he's an editor, but he doesn't want to edit her client's book because he doesn't like it. He doesn't like the town that it's from and all these things. Well, now it's 2 years later, and that book is hugely popular, and Nora and her sister go to it for a month to get away from the hustle and bustle of New York. Well, lo and behold, Charlie ends up being there for some reason. And yeah, of course, they are going to form a bond and start to spend time together, and things are going to happen. Yeah, I give this 4.5 stars, like I said. It's cute, it's fun, but it's nothing spectacular. There's nothing new and inventive about it. But I had a good time with it. The Julie Whalen is a fantastic narrator, so the audiobook is great. But yeah, 4.5 stars. So those are all of the books that I have read this half of the month. I'm really excited to keep going on my reads because I'm having a great time. The books are, they're hitting good. So yeah, that is all I have for now. If you made it this far, leave me a record emoji or a CD or whatever it is for Broken Records, because I just love this book so much. And don't forget to comment, subscribe, all the fun stuff. It really helps me out. I'll talk to you on the next one. Bye!